Hey everybody, it's been a while and I am so glad to be back. Just know that I wasn't away for any certain reason, but that it's very important sometimes to take yourself away and to gain, gain time, gain enlightenment, gain a little wisdom. So I hope everybody had a wonderful holiday season. Some I know are happy that they're gone and some I know are sad. I guess the one thing I can say I appreciate about the holiday season is, for the most part, it gets a lot of people into the right mood, kind of in the mood we should probably be in all the time. So it's nice to, be enlightened in happiness throughout a certain part of the year because, in today's society, it can get a little murky out there. So today it's really been heavy on me actually for the last couple days to talk to you guys about, being a good fisherman. Even if you've never cast before, today I'm going to teach you about what way I'm speaking of. I can say for myself, I could probably throw or cast it out there, so I may use some terminology that's not necessarily fisherman worthy, but you'll get the point behind the subject. So I know a lot of us throughout life, we maybe tried a few things and maybe we haven't, but I do want to talk to those people who felt like they've been casting and casting and casting out there to go and get that big fish and to see, they see people next to them getting big fish and they're wondering, they're out there on the dock, same as them, from sun up to sundown. And they're sitting there looking to the right and to the left and they're like, man, they just keep getting this fish. I've been out here for a week and they just keep getting this fish. Well, what you did see is those people have probably been out there 6,999 times. But you're out there trying to get it in your 10th time. Well, they've sat there and went through over and over and over again, but you didn't see that part. You didn't see the work behind what they've cast out and what they've threw. And see, the other part is a lot of times we find safety in what we can see. So as to while the people next to you are out there casting way out there, and all you hear is their string just going forever, just way out there, and you're like, dang, well, how far did they cast that? Why do you think they're casting that far? They can't see the fish that far. They can't see what they're going to catch that far. But they have belief that out there's that big fish that they want to catch. Because if they weren't after the big fish, if they weren't after what they really wanted, wouldn't they just kind of cast from home, maybe outside in their lake that far from where they're standing? That little, oh, I see minnows, I want to catch minnows. The truth is they don't want to catch the minnows. They believe that there's something bigger, there's something greater that's out there. And nobody's told them it's out there. They may have seen stories, they may have seen somebody do it, but they want it for themselves. And I think we need to realize that a lot of times we're standing on the same dock as these people who we're looking around at and we're like, why are they manifesting these big old fish? And all I'm catching is like boots and moss and whatever else is coming from this water, but I'm not catching my big fish. Why is this? And there's a number of reasons. One, because you're not casting to get the lesson that it's going to take to get that big fish. You're casting for instant results. So the seaweed and the boots and the things that you keep reeling in, there's something on that line good in that, but it may not be the fish that you're looking for. But you give up. You're like, they keep getting big fish, I'm getting seaweed and boots and old lunch pails and rust and whatever. But it's because you're not going through the process of the casting of the line out as far as you are trusting your line to go. You're not doing that. You're just doing what they're doing, hoping to get their results, but you're not in the emotion. You don't have no emotion behind what you're doing at all. You're just out there casting and casting and casting, but you're not feeling what you're doing. Your emotion isn't behind your belief. You're not truly believing, I'm going to go and I'm going to cast this today. Let me give you an example. What is fear without feeling? Like, let me ask, if there was no fear in you at all, and you go to a movie, a movie and then there's a scary scene and it makes you jump. What makes you jump? There's a feeling. There's something behind it. That movie has got you up all the way to a point to where you felt the emotion of fear, right? So then you jump. So then it becomes something. The same thing with something that's good. When you watch a good movie, you're engaged in the movie all the way, and then something really deep happens, and what happens? It triggers an emotion. And that emotion then becomes an element, like a tear or a sad face or a happy face or something. That's the same thing with what you're trying to do. Some people, you guys are out there saying you want things, and you want them for what they what the end result is. You don't really have a feeling behind why you want it. So some people have said, well, you know, you got to believe it in order to get it. In order to obtain it, you have to believe it in order to perceive it, and all these cute words. The truth of the matter is, if you don't have feeling, if there's not heart behind what you're doing, you're not going to get the result you're looking for. So here you are. You're casting your line way out there. And in fact, what you do is you give up. The first time the snag hits, the first time you draw a boot, the first time you draw some seaweed, the first time you draw something you don't want to, you give up. You're like, well, I guess I'm not a good enough fisherman. They are. So that's why I didn't catch it, because I'm not good enough. I didn't have the right pole. I didn't have the right line. I didn't have the right bait. I didn't have this. And before you know it, you set yourself up to be just this horrible thing, and you start putting these thoughts, and then thoughts become what? Just like with the movie, eventually it's going to tie down, and whatever you feel on the inside is going to reflect, the emotion is going to create a response, and you're going to become that thing. But what if you said, I'm going to cast, and I'm going to cast with everything that's in me, and no matter what it is that I pull in until I get what I want, I'm going to believe for that very thing that I know is out there. Like, I know they've come up with all these little gadgets for, like, maybe when you go on a fishing trip. I've been there. I've been on a bass boat with somebody, and I was like, well, what is that little screen? They're like, oh, that tells me where the fish is. Okay. So that tells you where the fish is. So when you put your line out there, you still got to believe that you're going to get those fish even though you see them. And more importantly, you don't know if that's going to be a one-eyed fish, a fake fish, a no-fin fish, or whatever it is, but you still put that out there. You see, we've tried to find ways and create devices to get us to believe in things that we can't see. But that bass boat and that little picture or whatever that is not going to be able to give us the big fish that we went and got on faith. Do you see what I'm saying? You think that fisherman that was right there next said, oh, well, somebody told me there was a big fish out there. They may have heard stories that there was big fish in that pond, but they cast way out there because they know what they're looking for is out there. That's not a guarantee. There's not a guarantee they're going to come home with a big fish. But what it is a guarantee that they believe in themselves enough to keep trying until they get what they want. And you guys, you don't understand. Every time you give up on yourself, you're taking yourself backwards again and again and again, because you start thinking bad about yourself. And when you start thinking bad about yourself, you start attracting bad things. You have to listen to me. You didn't have emotion when you were out there not knowing what you were doing, casting your rod, right? You were just out there casting it, hoping you'd get it. But it wasn't until you disappointed yourself that now you've collected a feeling of disappointment. You've collected a feeling of feeling bad. So here's what I'm telling you. Some of you have a tendency to want things that sometimes actually create the opposite of what you really need. You have to believe in your future big enough. You have to believe in your self-worth big enough to create a good energy. If you're constantly out there proving yourself wrong, you guys, there's no good in that. There's really no good in that. Let me ask you something. If you were to go and get a motorcycle, you went and you got a motorcycle, and you hadn't rode one before, what do you look like getting on that motorcycle? You're like, wah, 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 wah. Your head's jerking, your body's jerking, you're grabbing on, you're trying to make things work. You look horrible. You look like you don't know what you're doing. But once given yourself time, you build what? You build the confidence, because now you're actually not just trying to hold on to the motorcycle, but that you're in control of it. And then once you become in control of that moment, you become in control of that emotion. And becoming in control of that emotion and in your confidence, you create a positive energy. And then that positive energy, you start to believe in yourself. And there's nothing than feeling joy, feeling belief. There's nothing that compares to that. Feeling confident and joyful. And I'm not talking about arrogance and, oh, I know I'm this, I know I'm that. That's the other thing, you guys. We get that confused. I'm not even worried about that. I'm talking about the part where you look at yourself and say, you know what? I'm blessed. I'm favored. Why do we feel like we have to feel bad? You don't have to feel bad. If you go out there and you cast and you cast and you cast and you're like, Amy, I'm casting and I'm not catching anything, maybe the lesson's on the line. Maybe the lesson that you need to be looking for is right there on that very line that you keep casting out there, because you're holding on to the pole with doubt. You're still doubting yourself and you don't even realize it, because you already have a way out. Well, if I don't get it, then whatever. I guess I can't do it like them. And you already have an out. You're not casting in confidence. You're not casting knowing that you're worthy of what comes in on the other side. You're not. Because if you were, if you had undoubtable belief that you were worth casting a big fish, you would go out there, you would believe for it, you'd put emotion behind it, and even if it didn't come on the first try or the second try or the third try, you would be collecting the goodness that came from it every time. It may not have been the fish you were looking for, but you may have got a 1920 lunchbox. You may have got some beautiful shells or something that came along with it, and you're appreciating each one of those things because maybe there's something you have to catch on that line before you do get that big fish. Maybe you have to break that line so you can go and get another line strong enough to carry that big fish. No matter what it is, but you have to first believe that whatever it is that you're going to get is going to be for the greater good. Guys, believe in yourself, please. And remember that things don't have to be bad to turn good. You don't have to have a sad story to make a good story. Stop creating that in your mind. Don't compare yourself to the man next to you, beside you, in front of you. Keep your own PR, your own personal record, and may it be created with growth, self-growth, because you'll find in time, as you grow more in love with yourself and more in love with the beauty that life truly has to offer, you're not going to be worried about the people next to you anyway. In fact, you're going to love watching people be in themselves because you're going to put yourself around those type of people who are on the same element that you're on as well. You're not going to want to be around the people who are still holding on to negativity because it's too heavy for you to carry. Negativity, we don't realize the price that we pay for holding on to all that negativity. It's heavy. And then people around you, they think they've got it figured out. But you see, it's more than just figuring it out. Part of it is understanding the essence of who you are. Find peace. Find love. Find the things that are there of the good things on earth. You guys, we're not meant to be here to suffer. We're not. We're not. We're going to, if there's less than favorable things that happen in your life, you got to keep going. But you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. You truly do. You can have the desires of your heart. But first you have to check the desires of your mind and your thinking. Make sure that even though your heart wants the big fish, that your mind's not already telling you can't have it. The two have to come together. They really do. You guys, I've told you this and I'll tell you this over and over and over again. Remember to tell yourself at least 2 times a day, I can, I will, and I'm worth it. It is so important to know this, you guys. So important. You are fabulous. You are loved. God bless you and have a wonderful day.